Something's coming right up for you, so stay tuned.
Caesar on the cross. Been a long time since I've seen the kind of work you've laid down today. A damn long time. And the screams of those Legion bastards as they kick dirt running east like a choir of angels to my ears. Speaking of, that crazy light show over the fort? What the fuck was that? Some kind of thumb of God you called down? Amazing. Fucking amazing. Could use 100 of you. Just scatter you over the east like jacks. Give those plum fucks the what for. Vegas? What, the families? Or house? You're talking about house. What is this Brahmin shit? I'm not getting the feeling we're all about to sing Kumbaya here. Figured as much. Come on, you sons of bitches, we're ready.
You know, I've had thousands of employees in my time. Few met my expectations. Fewer still surpassed them. Your performance has been nothing short of spectacular. If I have need for a specialist of your stripe again, I'll know just where to turn. Back to Vegas, shall we? I really should do something about that monorail with all the new resources at hand. I can make sure it not only runs, but runs on time. Always bothered me, the imprecision. The General's accident was unfortunate. With Kimball dead, the angry Californian public could have used an alternate scapegoat to pillory. In any case, Vegas might see a dip in revenue for a year or two, but eventually the tourists will come flooding back, and their money with them. Vegas will be a shining jewel in the middle of the desert, an oasis of light, a beacon to show mankind the way to the stars. This is just the start, you see. This is where it all begins.
And so the courier who had cheated death in the cemetery outside Goodsprings cheated death once again, and the Mojave Wasteland was forever changed. Mr. House's Securitron army took control of Hoover Dam and the Strip, pushing both the Legion and the exhausted NCR out of New Vegas. Mr. House continued to run New Vegas his way, a despotic vision of pre-war glory. The streets were orderly, efficient, cold. New Vegas continued to be the sole place in the wasteland where fortunes were won and lost in the blink of an eye. The courier, fair and kind-hearted to those in the wasteland, ensured that Mr. House would keep New Vegas stable and secure for future generations. Mr. House afforded him every luxury at his disposal in the Lucky 38, out of gratitude and a quiet sense of pride for his choice in lieutenants.
Though some super mutants in Nightkin continued to journey to the legendary Utopia, they found little trace of its existence. Some eventually found their way to Jacobstown, but many wandered off into the wastes, confused and disheartened.
After a long and eventful life, Raoul's luck finally ran out during his time with the Courier.
Mr. House showed little interest on the Boomers, who eventually began venturing out to Nellis to meet and trade with travelers.
Buried beneath tons of rubble, the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel was no more. Those few who were outside the Hidden Valley bunker when it was destroyed settled into new lives, or headed west to find a new chapter to join.
The Fiends attacked Camp McCarran during the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, but the NCR repulsed the attack with minimal losses. When Mr. House asserted control over Outer Vegas, his Securitrons eradicated the remaining Fiends entirely.
After Mr. House gained control of New Vegas, he sent a Securitron to Goodsprings as a token of appreciation for helping the Courier. Victor was a mixed blessing, however, as he continually monitored the town for Mr. House.
Despite the destruction of Cassidy caravans, Cass lived for 30 more years. She made her way back west and passed away in a small shack outside of Vault City, the rose pendant still around her neck.
With no cure for the Nightkin schizophrenia in sight, the disgruntled Nightkin left Jacobstown. Without a treatment, their insanity grew. The crazed Nightkin terrorized the wasteland, and Jacobstown suffered repeated reprisals from mutant-hating humans. In the end, the surviving mutants abandoned Jacobstown entirely, its existence quickly forgotten by the rest of the wasteland.
Lily's long life finally came to a close in the Mojave wasteland. As the life faded from her, her last thoughts were of her grandchildren.
Flush with his victory, Mr. House sent Securitrons into Freeside, thinking to increase his control over the area. When fighting broke out, the Kings fought valiantly, but were no match for the armored killing machines, and were wiped out to the last man.
After Ray's brain was transplanted into Rex's cybernetic body, it took Rex some time to adjust to the old scrapyard dog's memories. Eventually, Rex's mind settled peacefully, melding his own memories with that of long travels with old Lady Gibson.
Though Novac was a low-priority target for the Legion, many of Novac's citizens died in its defense. In the weeks that followed, several bright followers returned to Novac to help restore its defenses, allowing it to remain independent of NCR.
Tired of waiting for the world to be done with him, Boone ventured into the wastes to make his own way out.
After Hoover Dam, the leaderless powder gangers at the correctional facility vanished into the wastes, leaving the prison empty. The correctional facility became another abandoned ruin in the wasteland, its carcass occasionally picked over by enterprising prospectors.
Armed with a wide array of improvised explosives and stolen weapons, the Vault 19 powder gang tormented the Mojave wasteland for years. Citizens of the NCR were favorite targets, and they always suffered the worst fates.
Despite NCR's pledge to support Prim, they abandoned the town after their loss to Mr. House. As repayment for their NCR loyalty, Mr. House sends Securitrons to Prim to protect it and collect heavy taxes from its citizens.
And so the Courier's road came to an end, for now. In the new world of the Mojave Wasteland, fighting continued, blood was spilled, and many lived and died just as they had in the old world. Because war never changes.